Everybody, welcome back to the Jackson Show. I'm your host, Jackson Solomon, and today we are going to be going over my predictions for this weekend's games. It's conference championship week in football, or in college football, and in the NFL. We got, I believe, week 14 of the NFL season. Some important news to get to before we get into the predictions. So, as always, please leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe down below. Turn the notification bell on, and thank you so much. Let's get straight into the video. All right, so news in the college football world. We'll start with Penn State after BYU's head coach. I do not remember BYU's head coach. I don't remember his name, but he signed an extension with the program. So he's going to stay at BYU. So Penn State still does not have a coach currently. Reports have come out that they are going after Iowa State's head coach, Matt Campbell. Campbell, I have not heard any comments from Campbell, but if you ask me, I think Brian Daboll is a better fit. I think that Daboll just needs to be taken down off the NFL level a little bit. In the head coaching job at the college level, maybe it's a little more stressful than the NFL level. Maybe it's a little more stressful than what they have at the NFL level, but I think when you look at kind of what Penn State is built on, they're built on the ground game. They're built on, I wouldn't even say Penn State's quarterbacks are really good. I'd say they're mobile. I say they're built on the ground game. And two things that I know Brian Daboll is well known for is building his offense off the ground game and having a decent mobile quarterback. Plus receivers around that quarterback that aren't necessarily the best in the league, but are pretty good. Defensive line is their strength. I think Daboll and Penn State just fit. Now, recruiting-wise, strategically, we're going to see how that plays out. But the portal closes, I believe, on the 17th of December, and those players at Penn State need a coach so that they can transfer out. I don't think players can transfer in either, so that's a major issue going down at Penn State. Also, more Big Ten news. Michigan State's Nick Marsh heads to the portal. Best fit for him probably going to be LSU, Alabama. Actually, I don't think Alabama's a good fit. They have Ryan Williams. So I don't think LSU would be a particularly good fit for Nick Marsh, but LSU probably with Lane Kiffin now. I'd say Ole Miss. I'd say Florida. I'd say there are a lot of SEC schools. You know who else needs a wide receiver? Michigan. They could use a wide receiver, and I think Nick Marsh would be kind of perfect. Underwood, Marsh to his right, Marsh to his left, and Micah Capena in the backfield. If you know, you know. And then last thing before we move on to the NFL, Jam Miller's questionable for tomorrow's SEC championship game. That's crucial because Miller is the leading rusher for Alabama. I think he's the only reason that Alabama has a ground game. Without Miller, they can't run the ball, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So they need Jam Miller. He's very important to Alabama's success on the ground, but also their success through the air. Ty Simpson, I don't think, can function without him. Let's start with some NFL news. Kyler Murray reports came out today. Kyler Murray's out for the year. I don't know with what, but I do know Brian Branch, following last night's Lions game, Lions won by 14 points, 30-44 over the Dallas Cowboys. Expect that one coming out with a weekend recap. But Brian Branch tore his Achilles. It's going to be a while before he comes back. And then T. Higgins is going to come back this week for the Bengals as they travel to Buffalo. And then Jaden Daniels is also coming back for the Vikings. I have no idea why. Why play Daniels? Why play Burrow? I've voiced my concerns on this before, but you have both teams have at least, I think, both teams have 8 losses. There's no point in playing. No point. Mariota did somewhat decent last year. I don't think it's worth the risk to rush him back at the end of the season when you could just put him on the shelf for next year. Nothing wrong. We're saving the franchise. We're going to rest up, get a high draft pick, and see where that takes us. All right, the time has now come for the weekend predictions. And we're going to get straight into it. College football games start tonight with the American Championship game. Tulane versus North Texas. North Texas, the 24th ranked team of the country. They're favored by 2.5 with Drew Mestamaker. This is so good because it's North Texas, which is really good, against Tulane, which is also really good. Like, both offenses are insane. Tulane's lost to Ole Miss, and I believe they lost to South Florida too. So, or no, they didn't play South Florida. They lost to another team. I can't remember who it was, but Tulane, I think, is 10-2, and I think North Texas, their only loss came at the hands, but I think North Texas wants it more. Give me UNT. Big 12 title game. Number 11 BYU travels to Arlington, which is essentially a home game for Texas Tech because it's in Texas. They're favored by 13 in Arlington. This is a neutral site game. Look, BYU, a little sluggish last week versus UCF. They need to bounce back and play at a higher level of football. I think that they can do that. I just don't think it's going to be possible against Texas Tech. Red Raiders look really good defensively, and even in the first meeting between these two teams, Texas Tech and Baron Morton was coming back from the injury. He didn't have his best game. I think Baron Morton's more comfortable now, and I think he's more suited, so I'll take Texas Tech. I just think they're the better team, and it's going to be tough for BYU to kind of set the tone against that Texas Tech defense. I'm sure they're going to come into this game more prepared than they did in the first meeting. The problem is kind of how are you going to be able to find success. SEC championship game day is going here, even though we all know where they should really be going. Number 3, Georgia's favored by 2.5. They take on the Crimson Tide. First meeting between these two teams was in Athens earlier this season. I'm starting to sense a pattern. First meeting between these two teams was in Athens earlier this year. Georgia dropped the game to Alabama. It's funny because Alabama didn't score a single second half touchdown. And the second half is when Georgia got hot. Last couple of weeks, Alabama's looked sluggish. Georgia has not. And I think this is just a game where Miami's going to be watching, Notre Dame's going to be watching, and a lot of eyes are going to be on this game. I'm going to take Georgia. I think this is maybe just a little bit enough to push the Hurricanes into the playoff, and you're going to see why we need Miami in the playoff in a minute. Big Ten title game. This is where game day should really be going, in case you were wondering. Number 1, Ohio State is the designated road team. They finished below Indiana in the standings. They're favored by 4, taking on the number 2 team in the country, Indiana. Defense wins championships, and I can't really see Matt Patricia's going to have something for Fernando Mendoza, and it's going to make it tough on him. It's going to be a gritty game, but overall, I think Ohio State will win the game. They'll finish undefeated, and they'll lose. They won't repeat. They won't repeat. It doesn't look like there's a team that's better than Ohio State right now, but I know they will not repeat. Duke versus Virginia in the ACC title game. I'm going to take Virginia. The reason why I take Virginia is, A, I don't watch much Duke football, but they have 5 losses. And second of all, Virginia's played sloppy football. They've corrected, and they've played much better these last couple of weeks. UVA wins the ACC title game. So in case you kind of wanted me to go back over, UNT wins the American, Texas Tech wins the Big 12, Georgia wins the SEC, Ohio State wins the Big 10, and Virginia wins the ACC. So basically, I only picked the favorites. Moving on to the NFL. Sunday in the NFL. Bengals, Bills. Bills favored by 6. T. Higgins coming back. Joe Burrow's coming, looks well. I'm going to take the Bengals. I've mentioned this before, but Cincinnati doesn't have anything to play for, and the Bills have been hot lately. But I think if there's one offense that can make a mess, and I think if there's one game that the Bills defense could slip up in, it's this game. Give me the Bengals. Colts favored by 1.5. They take on the Jags. Give me Jacksonville. Defense. It's so hard to root for Jacksonville because they blew out the Chargers, but that is the reason why I'm picking Jacksonville. Or that's the reason why I'm picking the Colts. The reason why I'm taking the Jags is because their defense is so good. Danny Dimes doesn't look like he is what he used to be. And if Trevor Lawrence and this Jaguars offense, if they could find an oomph of consistency, they're winning this game. And I believe that. Now, Steelers travel to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Give me the Ravens. I I initially thought with this game that the game was in Pittsburgh, and I would have taken the Steelers if it was. Pittsburgh's on the road, and the Ravens are at home. So Ravens win at home. This typically these two teams split every year. More often than not, Baltimore will win at home. There have been a couple of exceptions over the past couple of seasons, but typically the Ravens do win when they're at home. They're favored by 6. I'm going to take Baltimore in this game. And I also think with Rodgers, like, the injuries are piling up. The defense doesn't look as good, and I just think it's going to come crumbling down, man. Now, this is the third straight divisional game I'm going to predict. Bears-Packers. Packers favored by 7. Surprised to see the Bears down here so low. In last year, the Packers lost to the Bears at home. It was Week 18 game, and the Packers were playing for seeding. I believe. Yeah, the Packers were playing for seeding, and they lost the game, so they had to go to Philadelphia, which basically helped the Commanders because it gave them an easier path to the AFC or the NFC Championship game rather than facing Philadelphia in the first round. Packers, Bucks in the first round as well. Packers probably win. They go to Detroit. They probably lose to the Lions. And then the Lions and the Eagles would play in the NFC Championship game. So basically, the Bears screwed over the Lions. This game with Caleb Williams in it and this offense that's been rolling, I think it stops. Because Green Bay is they just look like a very good force, a force to be reckoned with, a force that you must stop. And that defense with Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary and the secondary looking really good and getting healthy, I think the Packers win it. Saturday Night Football is between the Texans and the Chiefs this week. Chiefs are favored by 4, and I'm a little conflicted because the Texans are hot, and the Chiefs are not, but the game's in Arrowhead, so I'm going to lean more Kansas City's way. I'm going to take the Chiefs. And I hate that I have to keep saying this, but this is the game where Kansas City gets hot. I doubt they make a playoff push this late into the season, but this is the game where I believe Chiefs, they'll win this game. They'll start the playoff push now. That's kind of what I think. And then Monday Night Football, Eagles travel to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. Give me the Chargers. Jalen Carter's not going to play. And I believe Justin Herbert's going to be good to go. Hopefully he brings back the glove. Put the glove on the hand, Herbert. We don't want you to get hurt any more than you already are. So put the glove on. He'll be able to make some accurate passes on his non-throwing hand, which is left hand. So non-throwing hand, I'm sure he's going to play. I'm sure the Chargers are going to have some special uniforms out there. I'm going to take the Chargers to defeat the Eagles. And yeah, basically, those are my picks. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. It was a great episode. I was enjoying it. I hope you enjoy it. Don't forget to tune into the next episode of The Jackson Show. And as always, bring a friend.